evening, everyone. Welcome to the 22nd Annual Stanford Asian American Award Ceremony. My name is Ipon Nafi, and my co-MC tonight is Brittany Tran. We are both Frosh interns at the Asian American Activity Center, and we are excited to be your hosts for tonight's award ceremony.
The Advisory Board of the Asian American Activity Center created this award ceremony to bring the campus community together and celebrate the accomplishments of amazing and talented individuals. The recipients represent the exceptional activists, educators, researchers, and leaders affiliated with Stanford. They were selected by the Advisory Board for their significant contributions to Stanford and the Asian American community. Thank you for joining us tonight to acknowledge the achievements and contributions of our recipients.
To start us off, we would like to invite Cindy Ng, Associate Dean of Students, and the Scott J.J. Hsu, Director of the Asian American Activity Center, to give us a warm welcome.
Good evening. I'm Cindy Ng, the Scott J.J. Hsu, Director of the AQC. Our Frosh interns have worked hard to create an amazing virtual event that honors and celebrates our awardees. So thank you for joining us. This past year has been difficult, to say the least. COVID continues to take its toll, especially now in India. Some of us have lost family members and friends. Our essential workers and small business owners have suffered as well. The existence of many of our historic shopping hubs are threatened. And then there is the continued rise in anti-Asian violence and hate, especially directed against the most vulnerable members of our community, our elders. I am sure I am not the only one who has experienced lows this year, especially after the attack on Atlanta. The racism and violence are not new and can seem never ending, but recent events have also given rise to a new level of organizing, especially among our youth. The marches and rallies against the hate and violence, many led by high school and even middle school students, gives me hope. The solidarity from other communities of color gives me hope. Our collective determination, our resolve to work together as a community and in solidarity with others gives me hope. We will meet the challenges facing us and continue to stand together for justice. It is equally important to care for ourselves and each other during these extraordinarily difficult times. Being strong doesn't mean not needing help or support. There is no shame in reaching out when needed. Let's continue to be there for each other. Our awardees tonight exemplify this care, strength, and hope. Their work and advocacy on and off campus embody the leadership we need to meet the challenges ahead. Congratulations to our award recipients, and thank you for joining us to honor their achievements. Thank you to our Frosh interns, Brittany, Itban, Shriti, Maliha, Faith, Kevin, and Krista for all the hard work organizing this event, and to Gerald and Latana for leading the effort. I hope you enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Without further ado, we would like to begin the awards portion of our program with the Faculty Award. This year, our faculty recipient is Dr. BELINDA BANDSTRA, a clinical associate professor and assistant director of psychiatric residency training in the School of Medicine. Here to present Dr. BELINDA BANDSTRA with the Faculty Award is Dr. Rania Awad, clinical associate professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences.
Hello, my name is Dr. Rania Awad, and I'm associate professor in the Stanford University School of Medicine Department of Psychiatry. And it's my distinct honor to introduce my colleague and dear friend, Dr. BELINDA BANDSTRA, for an incredibly well-deserved award, the Stanford Asian Award. And while Dr. Bandstra's official roles are an associate professor of psychiatry and the assistant program director in the residency training program, anyone who knows Dr. Bandstra will tell you that she is the rock of the psychiatry residency program. She's the first one there and the last one to leave. She's the one that resident psychiatrists in training call upon in the middle of a difficult shift, and even on the weekend, and she'll pick up the phone. She's the one who knows details about your life, like the name of your pet, and asks you how your loved ones in your life are doing, and sends you text messages to say, I'm here for you. Do you need anything? Dr. Bandstra is a teacher at the core and an amazing mentor to so many. It is in this way that she's helped scores of young psychiatrists find their path and their passions. Personally, I really enjoy co-teaching a course called The Culture and Religion in Psychiatry for several years now. And it's through the work that we do together, talking about culture and faith and calling it the can of worms, of opening a can of worms, that really helps transform psychiatrists in training to become more empathetic and more attuned and better clinicians overall. There's nobody that I enjoy delving into topics of culture, faith, and well-being over a steaming hot pot than Dr. BANDSTRA. This award is so fitting, and I look forward to hearing even more of her amazing work and mentorship. Congratulations, Belinda.
So I'm Belinda BANDSTRA. I am the Assistant Director of Residency Training for the General Psychiatry Residency Program and a Clinical Associate Professor in the Department of Psychiatry. Being a mentor is probably my favorite part of the job. I mean, I think that is the most rewarding part, is just getting a chance to know these amazing people who are coming through and who have these passions and who have this heart and these skills, and just to be able to be a part of that process and to walk alongside people. I really, really love that. It's been very moving to me to note that it matters to them. I feel like I have learned so much from my mentees, right? And as they reflect on their stories, their experiences, what it's like for them to, walk through the world, as members of the API community and with all of their intersecting identities, as they share with me, it has made me think and learn and grow a lot.
Thank you, Dr. BANDSTRA, for your continued mentorship of students and your contributions to serving communities of color. The next recipient of our faculty award is Dr. SHARIKA THIRANAGAMA, Associate Professor of Anthropology at Stanford. Here to present Dr. THIRANAGAMA with the faculty award is Dr. Sylvia Yanagisako, the Edward Clark Cressett Professor of Humanistic Studies and Professor of Anthropology.
Good afternoon. This is Sylvia Nagisako from the Department of Anthropology at Stanford. It's my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Professor SHARIKA THIRANAGAMA, as a recipient of this year's faculty award. Since her arrival at Stanford in 2011, Professor THIRANAGAMA has contributed greatly to the Asian American community at Stanford through her teaching, advising, and student advocacy, and through her service beyond campus. She regularly teaches graduate courses that include scholarship on South Asia. And in her undergraduate courses, she includes readings on issues that are critical to Asian American studies, focusing especially on questions of colonialism, stratification, inequality, race and ethnicity, gender, and class. Her own research and publications focus on ethnic communities, political violence and civil war in Sri Lanka, and on histories of enslavement, caste, inequality, and social mobility in rural South India. Professor THIRANAGAMA's advocacy and support of Asian American studies extends beyond the Stanford campus. In 2010, she fundraised and organized an annual graduate student conference on Sri Lanka to enhance research on Sri Lanka across different disciplines. She led this conference for 6 years, 4 of them at Stanford, and it has now become a regular component of the American Institute for Sri Lankan Studies. Since 2017, she has served as president of the American Institute for Sri Lankan Studies. Finally, Professor THIRANAGAMA writes asylum expert reports for cases in the United States and the United Kingdom, and she contributes regularly to the popular media on issues relating to violence and ethnic conflict in Sri Lanka, and on questions of immigration and asylum in the United States. Congratulations to her on this well-deserved award.
I'm so honored to be given the Asian American Studies Faculty Award this year in 2021, in a very, very difficult year for all of us, and I can't tell you how much this lifted my spirits. And this has been a really, really difficult year for many reasons. We've seen, from the pandemic and the fact that my students have had to see me in my bed while I teach from my Zoom room, my bedroom for the whole year, to even now, the rising hate against Asian Americans across the country, the Derek Chauvin trial, all the things that we have seen, these long-running patterns that have really come out. So as a community, we've had to deal with a lot and think a lot and talk a lot, and I'm very honored to be part of that this year, and honored to talk to students, to be part of the Asian American faculty community here at Stanford. I am somebody who's come late to the US. I was a refugee. I'm from Sri Lanka. I grew up partly in Britain. When my family went there as refugees when I was 10, I came to the US for work, and I have found a community here. And for that, I'm very grateful. I learned from my mother, who was, before she died, taught at a university, a public university in Sri Lanka, in northern Sri Lanka, where we lived in the middle of war. And she fought to keep the university open against military occupation and militancy. She kept it open, she taught, she kept it going, because she thought that the university was a place that could be a place for knowledge, for justice, and it had an important place to play in society. Sometimes I wonder whether teaching at a private university has the same effects as what she did teach me is to make a community wherever you are, and to strive for knowledge and justice in whatever places that you can. And I really hope to do that. I hope I do that now, and I hope I do that in the future. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. THIRANAGAMA, for your advocacy and research. Our next awards of the night are the Staff Awards. These awards honor members of the Stanford community who are crucial to the daily life on campus and have supported our students, faculty, alumni, and colleagues at the university. Our first Staff Award recipients are Maria Gregorio, Manager in University IT, and Lindsay Mancibo, Senior Software Developer, who are leaders of COVID-19 Meals from Frontliners. Here to present them with the Staff Award is Amy Diego DeBose, the Associate Director for Scholarship Engagement and Community for the Knight Hennessy Scholars Program.
Where were you 435 days ago? Obediently, many of us were sheltered in place, our minds discombobulated by the new reality, and our predictable schedules suddenly disrupted from the daily routine. For our two awardees, Lindsay and Maria, last year, they found their superpower. With their outstretched arms, they went beyond the Filipino community. They went beyond our campus boundaries to the greater Bay Area and created Meals for Frontliners. They brought with them the best of the Filipino culture summed up in two words, kababayan and kamayan. Kababayan means fellow countrymen, and I'm going to take the liberty here for it to also mean taking care of our fellow humankind. Kamayan is the daily call for it's time to eat. Many of us here tonight volunteered for Meals for Frontliners, raising thousands of dollars while providing thousands of meals and snacks to frontline healthcare workers together. Many local news channels and newspapers covered this great news. In a pandemic context, Maria and Lindsay were the super spreaders of goodwill, of gratitude, and of nourishment for our community's heart and soul. For their dedication to our kababayan of all colors, and for their inspiration through Kamayan, I am honored to present on behalf of the Filipino American community at Stanford, the Outstanding Staff Award to this superpowered duo, Maria Gregorio and Lindsay Mancibo. Congratulations and maraming salamat.
Well, this is unexpected. We didn't think that what started as a Slack idea chat would turn out to be a successful endeavor with colleagues.
Well, it started with a question. What can we do to help the frontliners? Everybody had the same question. So I asked on Slack. Then Lindsay and Kevin have ideas. 3D printed face shields to protect the frontliners and meals to cheer them up. In the process, we decided to broaden our reach. And that's when Vanessa and Kylie joined. We thank you, Kevin, Vanessa, and Kylie. We share this honor with you.
We'd also like to thank all those who have supported by donating money, food, and their time delivering food and face shields while patiently navigating the strict protocols at the hospitals.
We specially dedicate this honor to the frontliners who are still risking their lives to save others.
We also would like to say our gratitude to our parents. We are where we are.
We are what we are.
And we do what we do because of you.
Let us protect our elderly.
Stop Asian hate.
Stop Asian hate.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat po.
Congratulations, Maria and Lindsay. Thank you for supporting so many people amidst this pandemic. The next staff award recognizes Shirley Mack, Program Manager at Stanford's Center for Youth, Mental Health, and Wellbeing. Introducing Shirley is the Medical Center Development Team of Stanford Medicine.
We're all here today to celebrate and honor Shirley Mack for the Stanford Asian American Award in recognition for her substantive contributions to the Asian American, and Stanford communities. Shirley somehow managed to juggle her demanding full-time job as a program manager in medical center development and still carve out time to lead our diversity, equity, and inclusion group, which has provided an important forum for our whole department to bring DEI issues to light in a safe and welcoming environment.
Whether we're sharing our concerns for our respective families as a rise of anti-Asian hate arises, or talking about our families or grandmothers or grandfathers and their experiences in Chinatown and San Francisco or Oakland, or talking about the future of mental health and healthcare for APIs, or standing in solidarity with other communities of color. You are an astoundingly wonderful thought partner, leader, educator, and cheerleader.
As a founder and planning member of the Stanford Medical Center Development Planning Committee, DEI Planning Committee, I know you've worked tirelessly since June 2019 to create and provide compelling, informative, and thought-provoking sessions to help us progress on diversity, equity, and inclusion here at MCD. You've kept us on track, organized each meeting, facilitated conversations, and developed content, all with grace, patience, strength, and the unwavering determination that MCD can do better. You have made a lasting impact on improving our workplace culture and environment. We're so incredibly grateful for everything you've done, and we're so proud of you for this award. Thank you.
Thank you, AQC, for putting together this event and for all that you do to make Stanford more diverse and inclusive, including centering the voices and experiences of Asian Americans. Shout out to Asian Staff Forum and the MCD DEI Planning Committee for all of your support and encouragement. I am honored to receive the Staff Award and know that the honor does not belong to myself alone. I want to thank my ancestors and family for everything they have sacrificed so that I could be here today. A proud first-generation college graduate who isn't afraid to use her voice. I also want to thank my chosen family who continue to inspire me to take up space and speak truth to power. Finally, I want to acknowledge the countless organizations and activists, many of which are youth-led, who continue to be on the front lines of advancing change every single day. Though our community is deeply hurting right now, I have never been more proud to be Asian American and part of a collective that is deeply committed to justice, not just for ourselves, but in solidarity with other communities of color. This work is hard and never ending, and I both see you and stand with you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Shirley. Your commitment to education, equity, and mental health are greatly valued. Our next award honors an alum who serves the Stanford Asian American community on and off campus. This year's Alumni Award recognizes Dr. Russell JEUNG, class of '84, professor of Asian American Studies at San Francisco State University. Introducing Dr. JEUNG is WAING, class of '74, treasurer of the Stanford Asian Pacific American Alumni Club.
Hello, my name is Jacob Wong, and I'll be speaking on behalf of the Stanford Asian Pacific American Alumni Board. It is my pleasure to introduce Russell JEUNG as a recipient of the 2021 Stanford Asian American Alumni Award. While at Stanford, Russell received his BA in Human Biology and a master's degree in education. He was on the steering committee of ALYSSA and was one of the first staff persons at the Asian American Activity Center. He was instrumental building the Asian American student movement in the mid-1980s. He also started his career interested by teaching a SWAPC course on Asian Americans. Russell went on to distinguish himself as a professor in Asian American Studies at San Francisco State University. In 2018, as the department chair, he celebrated their 50th anniversary. Most recently, Russell co-founded Stop AAPI Hate that has collected almost 4,000 testimonies from individuals across the United States that have experienced hate speech and violence. In May of 2020, Russell supported SAPAC by being a panelist for our roundtable on the Asian American experience during the pandemic. He shared ideas for action and response to violence and racist incidences targeting people with Asian backgrounds. We, the SAPAC board, are proud that one of our own is helping guide a national movement to improve the welfare of all Asian Pacific Islanders. Congratulations, Russell, on winning this well-deserved award.
Hi, Stanford family. I'm Dr. Russell JEUNG, and I'm wearing my knockoff Stanford sweatshirt from Mervyn's, if you know where that is. I'd like to thank the Asian American Activity Center for this award. I'm really grateful for all that Stanford's given me, from my close friends, the nomads, my college roommates. I'm thankful for the Asian American Activity Center, which was a real place for me to belong while I was on campus. I'd like to thank my wife, Joanne, my son, Matthew, and my daughters, Betsy and Bonnie, for all their support. This past year has been really hard for the Asian American community as we experienced both racism and the pandemic. And I know that if it weren't for the broader community, I wouldn't be able to have the source of commitment and motivation to fight for our community and to stand up against the racism we're now experiencing. So congratulations to all the graduates, and thank you again for this award.
Thank you, Dr. JEUNG, for your commitment to serving the Stanford and Asian American community. Brittany and I hold great admiration for the faculty, staff, and alumni in our community. We also hold a great admiration for our fellow students, who are equally outstanding. Some of our peers have made incredible contributions in their short time here at Stanford. And the next portion of tonight's program seeks to recognize these student leaders in our Asian American community.
Before we begin our graduate awards, we would like to take a moment to remember a beloved medical student, Rose Wong, who passed away earlier this year. Rose was an important part of the Stanford community and is deeply missed. Our first graduate award is co-sponsored by the Vice Provost for Graduate Education, or VPGE. The VPGE Research and Teaching Award goes to Laura Y. Ng. As a PhD student in anthropology, Laura developed an innovative research project investigating the connections between 19th century migrants to the US and their home villages in China's Pearl River Delta. Laura's dissertation project uses original fieldwork, analysis of museum collections, and oral history in order to study the connections that formed between historic Chinatowns in Southern California and Gomben Village in Taisan, China. Laura's dissertation project examines how residents of both home villages and diaspora settlements actively generated transnational identities and communities through both material and discursive practices. Laura's dissertation project is the first of its kind, and without question, her research will result in paradigm-shifting findings that promise to transform the archaeology and ethnohistory of the Chinese diaspora. For Laura's exemplary research, we are proud to award her the Graduate VPGE Research and Teaching Award.
Thank you so much to the Asian American Activity Center, VPGE, and those who took the time to nominate me for this award. I also want to acknowledge the Enhancing Diversity in Graduate Education Program, Diversifying Academia Recruiting Excellence Fellowship Program, the Department of Anthropology, and the Stanford Archaeology Center for supporting my research. During my time at Stanford, I've also been grateful for the camaraderie of fellow Stanford students, especially those who share a love for archaeology or Asian American studies. I also want to give special thanks to my Cantonese teacher, JEUNG, and my dissertation committee, which includes Barbara Voss, Gordon Chang, Ian Hodder, and Paula Ebron. Last but not least, thank you to my family for asking me if I've eaten yet, and for supporting all of my intellectual pursuits, even if part of that includes examining 100-year-old trash. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Laura, for your community-based research. Next, we are proud to introduce the recipient of the Graduate Leadership Award. This year's Graduate Leadership Award goes to Bright Pan Zhao. Bright was the co-chair of the Asian Pacific American Medical Students Association, or APAMSA, where he helped redefine the organization's mission to focus on community building, community engagement, and advocacy and activism. As a result, APAMSA offered events focusing on API history, DACA repeal, and intersectional events for the LGBTQ+ community. As a medical student, Bright pushed to incorporate cultural humility in both patient care and curriculum. Bright also prioritized incorporating Asian American mental health and wellness in his work, organizing check-in meetings and a toolkit for mental health and well-being. According to one nominator, quote, "Bright is the type of leader who inspires all those around him to care more deeply about each other and our patients, to stand up for social justice and for those who do not have a voice, and to commit to making things better in whatever system he is in," end quote. For his leadership, commitment to inclusion, and community engagement, we are proud to present Bright with the Graduate Leadership Award.
I am honored to accept the 2021 ACUBC Graduate Leadership Award today, a moment of recognition to celebrate the work of leaders within my communities at the medical school. Recognition is something that can be hard to ask for, when our culture discourages it, and when so much work still needs to be done. But recognition is also a healing tool that can both remind us of what we have accomplished and help fuel our work ahead. This award is for my co-leaders, Rachita Pense, Vivian Lowe, and Richard Liang, who've helped increase the presence of politically and socially active Asian Americans at the medical school. This award is also for Rose Wong, a beloved member of our community and fierce champion for trans, queer, and Asian rights. She was an active force of recognition, possessing a remarkable ability to not just see you, but make you feel seen, both in passing and in deeper conversations about love and justice. In a time where we are being recognized through hate, violence, and all of the wrong reasons, I am grateful to this space for recognizing the strengths and achievements of all of tonight's awardees. Thank you so much to the ACUBC award committees and to all of our community gathered here.
Thank you, Bright, for your outstanding leadership and community building. Our next recipient of the Graduate Leadership Award is Katherine Liu. Katherine is a PhD student in chemistry and was awarded a National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship for her studies. Within the chemistry department, Katie has led efforts to change graduate recruitment to become more inclusive. Here at Stanford, just 34% of graduate students were non-international students of color, highlighting the underrepresentation of students of color. Katie advocated for, created, and served as a student recruitment liaison to increase the diversity of the chemistry department. She is also the current president of the Stanford Future Advancers of Science and Technology, FAST. FAST is a program that partners Stanford graduate students with students at San Jose high schools for student-led scientific research and engineering projects. Under Katie's leadership, FAST expanded, working with 80 mentors and 110 high school students in 2019 to 2020. 100% of the FAST students from 2018 to 2020, most of whom were students of color, are matriculating to college, thus advancing STEM diversity in higher education. For her committed leadership, we are proud to present Katherine with the Graduate Leadership Award.
Thank you to the organizers. I'm so honored to be a part of this event. Being a leader has been one of the most humbling experiences that I've had, and I've learned so much from my own mentors about what leadership actually looks like in practice. Cooper Galvin, the founder of FAST, taught me that being a leader is about receiving constructive feedback and having the context to not take it personally, to always center your community partners in the mission of your organization or the initiative that you're fighting for, and to know that growing from your mistakes is far more important than always being right. And my advisor, Professor Steve Boxer, showed me that when you create a supportive environment but give folks the space to be independent, then they can build something together that far exceeds what you had originally envisioned. In the FAST program, we go to East San Jose to ask high school students what they're curious about, and we guide them to figure out how to answer their own questions using scientific research. We give students the space to innovate and drive their own projects, but more importantly, we treat them as key collaborators and offer a consistent presence in their lives, someone at each step of the way saying, I know you can do it and I believe in you. The success of our program is entirely due to the people involved, so I'd like to take a second to recognize them. FAST is driven by the unpaid efforts of STEM graduate students. They give up their Saturdays, and they've also become my closest collaborators. It's been a joy to work with administrators from different corners of Stanford's campus. And the high school teachers that we partner with, Patrick and Gabby, inspire me to live selflessly. They believe in us enough to sacrifice their classrooms on the weekends and do the extra work to keep the students involved, things that are way above and beyond their already demanding job descriptions. Most importantly, the students challenge us all to think about science from new perspectives. They consistently find ways to troubleshoot, even when I'm struggling to see how we could ever move forward. Over the last 6 years, we've worked with over 200 students. Most of them qualify for free or reduced price lunch and would be the first person in their families to go to college. They've shown us that regardless of background or identity, when students have access to long-term mentorship, a space to ask questions, and a $70 budget, they create innovative solutions to open problems in our society. Lastly, I want to say thank you to my teachers, the ones who opened their classrooms after school to answer my questions, who encouraged me to dream about opportunities, and who relentlessly pushed me to apply for positions that I didn't think I was qualified enough for. Thank you for giving me the space to think independently and for keeping me accountable, for being someone at each step of the way saying, I believe in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Katherine, for your leadership across many communities. The final portion of our ceremony tonight will honor 7 remarkable undergraduate students in our community. These individuals go above and beyond and never fail to inspire us with their dedication and commitment. Our first undergraduate award tonight is the Undergraduate Research Award. This year's winner is Sarah Maung. Sarah serves as a community advocate on education with the Markaz Muslim Community Center. Sarah is not only heavily involved with many different student organizations, but also in the Stanford research community. She recently served as a research assistant at the Stanford Law School, where she researched several human rights campaigns addressing US involvement in the Saudi-Yemeni conflict, indigenous land rights in India, and environmental racism in the state of Louisiana. Her vast knowledge, passion, and expertise helped her become involved with research at other non-Stanford affiliated organizations, including the Asia Foundation and the US State Department. Sarah's commitment to promoting social awareness, initiating change, and understanding different social issues has helped her positively impact the Stanford community. One nominator said, quote, Sarah has committed herself to social change, whether that's at Stanford, the United States, or Myanmar, and she has utilized her time at Stanford to broaden her understanding of global issues, hone her research skills, and actively take on some of society's most pressing issues, end quote. For her important contributions to bringing awareness to important issues, We are honored to present Sarah with the Undergraduate Research Award.
Thank you so much for this award. This means so much to me and feels really affirming of the work and research that I've had the chance to do these past 4 years. As I prepare to graduate, I've been doing a lot of thinking and reflecting over my time at Stanford. And I really found that community has always been my North Star. Everything that I've done and everything that I continue to do has and will always be inspired by the strength and resilience and power of the communities that I'm a part of. My Burmese, my Marquez, my Muslim, my Phi communities. And my research has always been based on a desire to better understand and improve the realities of those that I care about and the communities that I care about. And it's always been community centers on campus, ACUBC and Marquez especially, that have been my home base these past 4 years. And I just want to say thank you for all that you do, and thank you for this award.
Thank you, Sarah, for your commitment to underrepresented communities. Our next undergraduate award is the Public Service Award. Our first recipient is ALYSSA Romanos. ALYSSA served as the co-chair for the Community Service Committee of the Filipino American Student Union, also known as PASU. She helped create events that focused on discussing colorism and highlighting the beauty of diverse skin tones. She also led the Workers' Storytelling Project, which centered worker stories and generated discussions about worker conditions on campus. She also co-led the Filipinx Issues Alternative Spring Break, where she facilitated discussions about Filipino history and ethical service. ALYSSA created lesson plans that centered perspectives from Indigenous Filipino groups. Additionally, she served as Executive Director of the Alternative Spring Break Program, ASB. In this role, ALYSSA helped create the first ever ASB conference on community organizing that stressed the importance of social justice activism during the COVID-19 pandemic. Her leadership, dedication, kindness, and passion for community service has helped her engineer new ways and events to promote social awareness and volunteerism in the Stanford community. According to one nominator, quote, her involvement in this organization, ASB, and in PASU has been pivotal in the Asian American community and has involved so many students in public service, end quote. For her social justice activism and dedication to the Filipinx community, we are proud to award ALYSSA with the Public Service Award.
Thank you, Gerald, Cindy, Latina, the Stanford ACUBC, and the Stanford Asian American community for this award. This award is for everyone who supported me and guided me throughout my Stanford journey. It's for my parents, especially, who made Stanford a possibility for me. It's for PASU, who's been my family since frosh year, especially Gianna, who's been there for me through it all. It's for my Emerson cohort and Branner, especially Nate and Chris, who have been inspirational friends and organizers. It's for the Stanford ASB community, to Kim, who's mentored me to be the best executive director I could be, to our leadership team, Therese, Alan, Julian, and Kim, and all of our co-leads and participants. I'm really just so fortunate to know you all, to work with you all, to laugh and cry with you all. So many of you have helped me grow into my own understanding of service and of myself. And so for that, I can't thank you all enough. This is for you.
Thank you, ALYSSA, for your service to our community. Our next recipient of the Public Service Award is Rachel Kia Hsiong. Rachel was co-chair of the Hmong Student Union and Stanford Hmong Outreach Program Promoting Education, otherwise known as SHOP. SHOP is a program that provides college guidance and mentorship to Hmong high school students. Her awareness and experience working with high school students and community members helped her redesign SHOP. Rachel's passion for fostering social awareness is also seen in her role at the Marquez Muslim Community Center, where she partnered with Muslim and Asian American identifying staff to create programming focused on critical social issues. Furthermore, her work also extends to the community, where she served under-resourced San Jose patients at the Pacific Free Clinic through Stanford's Cardinal Free Clinics. Rachel's passion for public service, creativity, and kindness has helped her positively impact and inspire many within the Stanford community and beyond. A nominator said, quote, Rachel is not just a leader in public service, but also a constant learner who is always thinking of how else she can contribute and offer her time and energy to help uplift the communities she cares about, end quote. For her commitment to service for the Asian American community, including Hmong youth and clinical patients, we are proud to award Rachel the Public Service Award.
It is such an honor to be here with you all today virtually and accept this award. I'd first like to thank everybody who was able to make this ceremony happen in a time where it's so hard to connect and celebrate with others. I'd like to thank the Hmong Student Union, Cardinal Free Clinics, and all of the friends and mentors that I've met that have shaped my time at Stanford. I would especially like to express gratitude to my parents. They have made me into the person I am today and have shown me the importance of expressing care by giving your time to others. Growing up as a Hmong person in the United States in a small Hmong community, I knew the importance of supporting the people you cared about. I could see it in the way people came together to help whenever there was a person getting married or when a family member passed away. But when I was at Stanford and surrounded by people who I assumed to be much better than I was, a small Hmong girl from Georgia, I struggled to see how my support could possibly mean anything. However, I still wanted to utilize my privilege that the Stanford education gives me to volunteer my time to the communities I care about, and I learned that I could still have an impact. I learned that regardless of our backgrounds, we all have the ability to shape and improve the world around us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, for your service focused on Asian American issues. The next undergraduate award is the Gender and Sexuality Issues Award. This year's recipient is Matthew HAIDE JEUNG. Matthew is the founder coordinator of Refuge, an interfaith program in LGBTQ+ spiritual and religious exploration. Refuge is offered in partnership with Stanford's Queer Student Resources and Office for Religious Life. Matthew's outstanding leadership helped facilitate spiritual discourse and build community for queer interfaith exchange. They also redesigned the campus LGBTQ+ wellness program and partnered with many departments and programs to provide support for Stanford community members. As a research assistant for the Center for the Advanced Study in the Behavioral Sciences and Pride Lab, Matthew conducts extensive research in LGBTQ+ health disparities, geriatrics, and global political inequality. Matthew's extensive background knowledge, communal activism, research, passion, and leadership has helped them positively impact the LGBTQ+ and other communities at Stanford and beyond. One nominator said, quote, "Queer people, especially those with religious and spiritual identities, often face isolating journeys. The Queer Refuge Group has led to real conversation about issues that many of us have been holding in our private thoughts for our entire lives," end quote. For supporting the LGBTQ+ community, we are proud to honor Matthew with the Gender and Sexuality Issues Award.
Hi, my name is Matthew ZHENG, and I'm so humbled and honored to be accepting the Gender and Sexuality Issues Award this year. I'd like to thank ACUBE-C and the awards committee for this unbelievable honor. I'd also like to thank those who nominated me and supported me for this award, as well as my many mentors who made the work of Refuge, Queerness, Spirituality, and Religion a possibility, specifically Benjamin Davidson, the Reverend Dr. Tiffany Steinwart, and the Reverend Colleen Preninger at Queer Student Resources and the Office for Religious and Spiritual Life. If I have the ability to speak to some younger queer people today, let me say this. When I was younger, I thought I would not be alive today. Life didn't seem worth living, but it was when I discovered that serving my queer community and following my spiritual path were one and the same, that my life became a joyous celebration. So I'm so thankful to be receiving this award. It inspires and motivates me yet again to continue this work of queer spiritual social change. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matthew, for uplifting queer communities through your meaningful work. Our next undergraduate award is the Performing and Fine Arts Award. This year's recipient is ANQI Yu. ANQI serves as the artistic leader of the Asian American Theater Project, or AATP. ANQI is passionate about educating others about Asian American playwrights and initiating critical discussions about race and representation. ANQI's unique creativity and expansive social awareness has helped her transform programming in AATP and apply her knowledge to other organizations. Her work extends to the Stanford Asian American Activism Committee, where she utilized her skills in event organization and storytelling to create an engaging event about API history for high school students. Furthermore, ANQI is a co-founder of the Restorative Film Collective, where she focuses on empowering creative students of color at Stanford and providing them a healing space. ANQI's dedication, persistence, and ingenuity has helped her positively impact many students and initiate change within the Stanford community and beyond. One nominator said, quote, "She has always been concerned with supporting diverse storytelling in AATP, often uplifting non-East Asian narratives in the shows she proposes for the company and supporting non-East Asian artists," end quote. For dedicating her creativity towards the Asian American community, we are honored to present ANQI with the Performing and Fine Arts Award.
Hi, I'm so honored to have received the Undergraduate Performing/Fine Arts Award. I wouldn't be here today at all without the Asian American Theater Project, which has been my home away from home for the last 4 years and helped me grow so much in my values, both as an artist and as a person. I also want to use this time to say that there are definitely moments in my undergraduate experience where I couldn't even imagine the possibility of receiving an award like this just because I didn't feel supported in my artistic pursuits all the time. So to anyone who has an interest and passion for the arts and humanities, but maybe feels discouraged going down that path because of familial, cultural, societal expectations, I want to encourage you to make room for that kind of expression in your life, because at the end of the day, things like imagination and creativity are the best tools that we have to imagine and build towards a more just and beautiful world. So yeah, thank you so much again.
Thank you, ANQI, for your devotion to API history and education through your creativity. The next undergraduate award is the Community Building Award. This year's recipient is Melody Yang. Melody is a member of Students for the Liberation of All People, SLAP, an organization that mobilizes students to fight the oppression of marginalized communities through community-based action. Melody played a pivotal role in organizing SLAP's No Tech for ICE campaign that called on Stanford to cut its ties with unethical tech companies. SLAP also encouraged students to stop working for corporations that code state violence. As a member of Stanford Asian American Activism Committee, SAC, and Students for Queer Resistance and Trans Liberation, SQUIRTLE, they have also been a critical force behind fighting for Asian American and queer issues. Melody was a fellow at Seeding Change, a Center for Asian American Movement Building at the Chinese Progressive Association. As a fellow, they worked with the Tenants Workers Center to plan events, canvass, and support wage theft claim cases. As the Asian American Studies liaison, they hosted incredible talks that highlighted underrepresented API communities. Whether it was in SLAP, AQC, SQUIRTLE, SAC, or Okada, their leadership and mentorship creates an activism space where students who were just beginning to explore could learn about and contribute towards activism.
Thank you so much for the Community Building Award. Looking back on my past few years here, the greatest lesson I've learned is that my friends are my power, which I think I had known but never really understood until I had people who had my back, who I could laugh with, who I could stand beside and think proudly, wow, look at everything we did together. Look at how we've grown. So here are a few stories about what we did. Like when an alum brought an electric griddle to the AQC and we spent 2 hours making grilled cheese and French toast, and then later that week, we reconvened at the griddle with a bizarre assortment of sandwich ingredients, filling slices of bread with Oreos and oranges and raw garlic because what is a sandwich anyway? Or when I gave Latina a Stanford bike helmet and then Sydney demanded one too, and we phoned a friend to bring his helmet or else Latina would lose her job. And then she rode her bike around the center, showing off her fresh new wheels. And when I sprouted lemon seedlings in the computer cluster, and we moved them to Cindy's office for admin weekend, and she closed her door secretively, worried that the admins would think that we were growing weed. To be honest, when I heard I received this award, I panicked, because this meant that my time with these communities, in this configuration, was coming to an end. But how lucky I am to have something that I will miss this much. how grateful I am that my communities in this configuration have happened.
Thank you, Melody, for your commitment to activism and creating accepting spaces. The very last undergraduate award of the night is the Special Achievement Award. This year's recipient is THERESA Gao. THERESA actively works to advocate for justice and equity both on and off campus. THERESA is an organizer with SAC, where she worked on different campaigns. She helped lead the 22% movement, a campaign to disaggregate data on Asian American ethnicities and increase the diversity of Asian American students. Furthermore, she spearheaded the Who's Teaching Us campaign, a student organization that fights for the hiring and retaining of faculty of color, racial justice on campus, and expanding ethnic studies. Her work in these campaigns has helped support and build Asian American studies and other programs under comparative studies in race and ethnicity. THERESA has also initiated conversations around these issues with Stanford administrators, including Vice Provost for Student Affairs, Susie Brubaker-Cole, and former Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education, Harry Elam. Her love towards serving the community, along with her kindness and ingenuity, has helped inspire many students, transform activism on Stanford's campus, create positive relationships with community members, and change the greater community for the better. One nominator said, quote, "THERESA is a fighter. She stands up for what she believes in and inspires others to do so as well. THERESA was the person to make me feel at home in this community because of the way she uplifts others and stays humble. THERESA is the definition of chosen family, and I'm so proud to call her my friend and role model," end quote.
Hi everyone, I'm so humbled and honored to accept this Undergraduate Special Achievement Award. Also, congratulations to everyone else. This award would not be possible without the Chinese immigrant railroad workers who built Stanford, all the student and community organizers who fought for ethnic studies and community centers, and more broadly for a more just world for all. As someone who came into Stanford not knowing about ethnic studies or Asian American studies, I am so blessed to have found a home in this movement. This community has been so healing for me over the past 4 years, and I'm so grateful to have crossed paths with the most caring, brilliant, and kind people, whether it's been fellow students, such as in SAC, or professors, especially in Asian American studies. Whether it was chatting with Cindy about cats, or SAC meetings in the boardroom, or the wholesome virtual meetings of the AQC during COVID, I will always treasure these warm memories. Thank you again.
Thank you, THERESA, for your activism on behalf of the Asian American community. Finally, if we were in person, this is where I would ask everyone to please join me in giving another huge round of applause for all of our amazing undergraduate, graduate, faculty, staff, and alumni recipients. Instead, please share your shoutouts in the chat. Congratulations to all.
Every year, the Asian American Activities Center Advisory Board has the privilege of recognizing some of the most outstanding leaders in the Stanford community. It is their passion, dedication, and commitment that have shaped the API community at Stanford to be as vibrant, caring, and active as it is.
While the accomplishments of our recipients are great, they certainly could not have done it all alone. All of you in attendance today have demonstrated yet again your involvement in and support for the issues and concerns of our community. Together, all of us add to the rich and diverse university that is Stanford.
Congratulations again to everyone who helped make tonight's event possible and whose talent and dedication serve as an inspiration to all of us. We know that each of you will continue to do wonderful things here at Stanford and beyond. Thank you, everyone, for your continued support. We hope you all are staying safe during this pandemic, and we hope to see you all at next year's Stanford Asian American Awards.